Yeah, hey, Blind Guy doing stuff here, and I wanted to make a quick video today, a quick recording about Barack Obama's comments that he just made about the United States being for revolution or not. And if you missed it, and I'm sorry I don't have the audio, I was just trying to find it, and it was really hard to find the audio, so I'll just recap what he said. Basically, what he said is that the United States is not ready for revolution, that most average Americans are more inclined to go for legislative fix rather than just tearing the whole system down and rebuilding it. Now, this, of course, is an endorsement for his ex-vice president, Joe Biden. And, you wouldn't be surprised. Him and Joe are friends, so that's totally okay. Um, but let's kind of talk about his comment and whether the United States is ready for a revolutionary moment or not. Um, First of all, I'd like to say that he is a little right, and I think probably a lot wrong. And here's why. Here's why I think he's right in some ways. Um, I was just talking to a boomer the other day, and I know boomers right now, that word is like a loaded word right now, but yes, this person was a baby boomer. She was in her like mid 60s, and she was telling me, and I was talking to her about socialism and revolution and Bernie and some other things, and she was like, well, I just think most Americans my age are not ready for anything socialist or anything like that or any kind of revolution because we were so indoctrinated that these kind of things were bad in the 50s and 60s, and that most people they just wanted to get it fixed by the legislative process rather than tearing the whole system down. And in fact, she almost said the exact same thing that Obama says. And this person is she votes Democrat and has for a long time, as far as they know. And I think a lot of people kind of feel like that in her age group, and a lot of Americans feel like that in general. At least they say they do, because a lot of most people out there they're just trying to go to work and come home and live their life. And when you start talking using this word revolution, it really starts scaring a lot of people. But of course, the revolution doesn't always have to mean guns and violence and bombs and all this other stuff. There's lots of revolutions that happened in history that were nonviolent, that took a little time but did eventually happen. We have the Enlightenment, we have the scientific revolution, we have the Industrial Revolution, we have the FDR Revolution, and then we have the Reagan Revolution. And if we don't get it together, we're about to be having the Trump Revolution, which is basically tearing down the FDR Revolution and taking us back to a pre um, 19 an early 1900s mindset, which is very little government, very little regulation. And that's kind of how we are. That's where we are right now. So a lot of people don't like this word revolution, and they don't like the thought of the whole system getting torn down, because that's going to be a lot of hassle them in their mind to them. It's going to be big problems for them. Now, here's where I think that Obama is wrong, and I have a little data and some examples to back up my theory. And in fact, Obama is part of my rebuttal to Obama's statement that Americans aren't ready for a revolution. So I think that we can agree on that most, as Obama says, and I'll use the term he used, average Americans, everybody knows that there is something wrong out there. Now, of course, we have a broken education system. People are not really taught to be civically engaged and these kind of things. And so a lot of people don't know what is broken and they don't know what the problem is, but they do know that there's something wrong and they want change. And another word for change, and it's just a faster, quicker change, is revolution. And revolution means to turn or to turn around, and that is the same thing as change. So you turn around to another thing, a revolution. And I really think that people might say they don't want a revolution, and they may say they don't like that word, because then you get into the word revolt and you get into all this violence, and it just sounds so terrible. But people want change, and how do we know? Well, look what happened in 2008. Obama, and I was a delegate for Obama. I went all the way to Spokane as a state delegate. Was in the running for a national delegate, but didn't really make it that far. And so I was in the Obama campaign, and I knew all about what he was saying. And he was saying hope and change, which is very light word, an easy way to say revolution. And Obama was out there saying, there is something wrong, folks, and we have to fix this. The Republicans, quote, drove the country into the ditch, and they have been driving it into the ditch with the help of Democrats since the Reagan Revolution of the 1980s. So Obama knew that people wanted change, and that has a lot to do with the Iraq War. That is right when the financial crisis happened. And then after the financial crisis, people knew they wanted change. We had the stimulus. It was lightweight stimulus. We had all this stuff. Obamacare, no public option. The Republicans blocked everything. And basically, the revolution didn't happen. It was a dud. Obama did do some things, but he didn't do some things. And in fact, he did some bad things. I didn't vote for him again in 2012. I can't put up with the drone strikes and the foreign wars and some of the other stuff he was doing. So his revolution was pretty much a dud. But the American people, and a lot of them, this is record election, voted in our first African American president. And as we all know, and this is a really, really big deal in the United States if you look at our history, it is a bigger deal than I think a lot of people realize. And what I say, and it's not just me saying this, and some of my thinking comes from Tom Hartman radio show. He also says this, and I agree with him, that Americans wanted a revolution so bad. They wanted change so bad, and Obama was so appealing to even a lot of those people in the Midwest and other parts of the country that wouldn't necessarily vote for an African American, maybe in a local election or something like that, because of America's deep-rooted racism. Yes, we do have it. They went out and voted for Obama because they wanted change. They really did, and they thought that this guy was going to be the guy to do it. And now I think Obama probably wanted to, and he really felt like he could. Look at his background. Community organizer from the streets of Chicago. I mean, he really wanted to make a change, but for whatever reason, one of the big reasons was the caucus room conspiracy, the Republicans blocking it. So, but Obama needs to take some responsibility too. He also didn't go as far as he probably should have, but we did have a lot of blockage by Republicans. So the Obama revolution, it tried. It still going in some ways. It empowered a lot of people, and that is still going. But as far as the economic things, it didn't happen. And in fact, Obama, as we know, encouraged some of the bad behavior, and he kind of reversed. He went in the opposite way than people wanted. Now, here's where we know that Americans really want a revolution. Look who 63 million people went out and voted for. Not just crazy redneck backwoods Confederates went out and voted for Donald Trump. A lot of regular people went out and voted the most crooked. I don't want to go on and on about the president. I haven't liked Donald Trump pretty much my entire life. If I can think of somebody that has always been in my head that did not like, it's always been Donald Trump. And what's so crazy about it is when I was living in Alabama, a lot of people around me didn't like Donald Trump, but probably went out and voted for him. But you know what? They wanted change so bad that they went out and elected pretty much the worst person on the planet to be our president. Because Trump said, we're going to take down the swamp, and we're going to burn it down, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do that. What is that? That is all revolutionary talk. And now that's what we have going on. The Trump revolution, the Stephen Miller revolution, the libertarian revolution. They're tearing down the government piece by piece. Basically, they're taking down the New Deal. But you know what? People don't care. At this point, they're just throwing stuff up against the wall to see what sticks and what will change. And they're like, oh, well, Trump will get it changed for us. And guess what? Trump is changing it. And things are changing, but not for the better for most people. Now, some of Trump's base are doing good. A lot of people aren't. And so Americans, this is how I think Obama is wrong. people want change. People want a revolution. Now, do they want revolution in the street? Guns fighting, neighborhood to neighborhood, Syria type revolution? No, I don't think so. As far as not at this point. But here we go again. Here's the thing where Obama's wrong too. We don't want it to get that far, guys. If we keep going down this half measure, okay, maybe this person will get it done, democratic situation, the Reagan Revolution is just going to keep getting deeper and deeper and deeper and bigger and bigger and bigger, and eventually it's just going to get worse and worse and worse, where, well, we might just end up with a revolution just because people don't have anything else to do. They're just like, okay, this is it. Now, we don't know if that's going to come or when it's going to come, and I hope it doesn't come. But if we don't get a handle on this oncoming destruction that's going on with our environment, with our government, sort of fascist takeover of things that are going on, it's just going to get worse and worse. And I really feel that if we continue to do these half measures, that we're going to have a problem. So Obama's statement, the average American is not ready for a revolution. They're more interested in legislative change. In my opinion, is a little right, but a lot wrong.